Hi everyone, this is part 8, the defeat of the negative forces. When this communication started, many streaks and tongues of different colored lights were flashing and darting in swarms. This light show was flickering all around the Guardians and the Sentinels. I was unaware of what was being communicated during this time. Once this meeting was over, everyone shuffled back to standing in a giant circle around those meeting in the middle of the room. Once again, Tier Air addressed the assembly through me. He stated that the spheres had been buffering the cosmic energy waves and quarantining our solar system were now almost completely phased out of our reality. He further revealed that many of the negative ET groups would have either called in reinforcements or escaped as the war escalated. However, the blockade set up by the Galactic Federation around our solar system as of the end of 2014 had prevented all of this. It was explained that the only avenue of escape left to these negative forces would be via the Cosmic Web portal system. Tier Air stated that all portal travel is being heavily monitored by the Galactic Federation to track down any negative humans or non-terrestrials who are able to escape. The extremely small number who do manage to escape will be on the run for the rest of their lives. Providing support and meeting the new Guardians, Tier Air then had me address the witnesses. One second. He had me communicate that each witness is a conduit of this higher density information. We are tasked with the duty of bringing this knowledge to the group consciousness within each of our star systems. It was further stated that each of us had incarnated from various groups within the Galactic Federation. Hundreds of thousands of beings from that same soul group were living back on our home planets. Each of us provided each star system with energetic and physical support. This is done for every star system as it goes through this energetic transition. Wow. It was then revealed that we would meet the two new Guardian groups. Furthermore, we would be in regular communication with these groups as we moved up to the energetic transition, as we pass through it, and as we then adjust to its after effects. This relationship will help to safely guide us as we shift into an era of true self-management. The blue avians returning to their native density. We were told to prepare for the introduction to the new Guardians. The room then flashed with a brilliant blue light. I felt every molecule in my body begin to vibrate. The room filled with literally thousands of blue orbs. Two new species of higher density beings were now standing there before us. I looked over at Tier Air, who was now standing with Ra Rain Ear and Ra Mare Ear, the two other blue avians who I have met in the past. He turned to the group of witnesses and stated that he and the other two blue avians would no longer manifest physically in our reality. Instead, they would be in frequent contact with us through our dreams. He stated that each of us are doing important dream work and training with others on our planet. We should expect that this will increase dramatically. Every night we are in classrooms full of astral students. We have been doing this dream work since becoming delegates, and our higher selves have been shielding us from remembering too many details. During the Eclipse of Disclosure event last summer, I heard many reports from people talking about getting downloads in both dream and waking states. We have just launched the new Disclosure Project website and have all 18 presentations available to the public to view for free at fulldisclosureproject.org. We have to become our own saviors. Tier Air stated that we have reached the point where we have decided to get off our knees and that we have reached the point where we have to decide to get off our knees and become our own saviors. We are at the beginning of the Great Awakening, in quotes, that will lead to our very own consciousness renaissance. He stated that many star seeds came here to experience this density and to offer energetic assistance during the transition. These same beings were now fully awakening to their predetermined missions. He also said that our ability to manifest has significantly strengthened thanks to the dramatic energetic increase our entire solar system is now undergoing. He stated that if we begin to use our experiences and skills to further assist the rapid expansion of our consciousness, we will discover ways to manifest the most optimal reality. Each of us can decide to take up the mission, and assist in demanding the release of hidden technologies. We can choose to do whatever is in our power to assist the growth in spirituality and consciousness that is being offered to the rest of humanity. Tier Air and the other blue avians, along with the Golden Triangle beings, then had me say, in service to all, in service of the one. Going back home, the new guardians addressed us and began to give us some cosmic ground rules for going forward. They told us to not share the information at this time. This even included any descriptions of their physical appearance. They then disappeared. Aww. The excitement in the room was amazing as blue orbs came and took each of the witnesses out of the room one by one. Ari sprinted up to me and gave me a huge hug. She then pulled my clothes out of her bag and pointed to an area to change. I handed her the robe and sandals and watched as the blue sphere zigzagged patiently around the both of us. I indicated I was ready for transport, and soon I was off in a blue blur. I expected to ride back with the inner earth groups, but was instead delivered home. According to the clock, I was only gone about 10 minutes, although I felt as if I had been away from home for days. Prepare for a meeting with the SSP. As usual, after these types of encounters, I spend the next few days in deep thought. I can often go so deep in thought that I am unaware of my surroundings. I was going over every detail in my head so thoroughly that I often felt as if I was barely tethered to the ground. I was, however, pulled back down to ground level very quickly when I received a message that I should prepare for a meeting with the SSP, Secret Space Program Alliance, at the Lunar Operations Command. I was certain that they wanted a full report on the previous events. I was admittedly a bit nervous about the meeting. After all, the SSP Alliance was forced to go dark, specifically because of the information that Sigmund had extracted from me. I was made to feel responsible for the deaths of 2 respected SSP Alliance members, as well as having outed a few more. A community of retired personnel. Gonzalez had recently communicated to me that there was a huge community of retired Air Force and CIA personnel in the area where I had moved to in Colorado. This was confirmed when I walked around with my son on Halloween to meet the neighbors. A number of them had worked for government agencies. The couple living directly in front of me were geologists who had retired from the CIA. I was told that many sensors and devices have been placed around my home to monitor any types of energetic or atmospheric changes that occur when I am visited or picked up by off-world groups. The orb in the football field. I was instructed to drive to the local football field that belongs to the local school district and wait to be picked up. At about 2 a.m., I got in my car and drove to the specified location. I sat in my car for about 20 minutes until I saw a white orb in the sky. It was very bright, and it was descending from the sky in my direction. The white orb then disappeared, almost like a bubble popping. In its place was the dart craft that I was familiar with from my previous trip to the LOC. The dart drifted slowly down and landed between where I parked and the football field. It gave me a ways to walk before I could board the craft. As I walked up, the door opened. I looked in and only saw the two crew in front. One of them motioned to me to get in and buckled up. I got in and buckled up the harness from my seat as we lifted off. The Lunar Operations Command. Before long, we were approaching the moon. It was amazing how quickly the moon went from a small point in the sky to appearing so large that we seemed to almost be at risk of hitting it. Wow. We passed by the crater that the LOC is located in more than once. There is a technology that causes a mirage effect, hiding the LOC. It was still activated at this time. Once the masking technology was deactivated, I could see the LOC spread out beneath me with green, red, and white flashing lights on the structures. I heard that we were cleared for landing. We flew straight for the hole in the crater near the LOC. When we entered the lava tube cavern that the LOC was built into, I could see the rest of the bell-shaped structure that went down to the floor of the cavern. I could see the two bays where craft were landing and taking off. They would then head off in various directions, as dictated by the lava tubes they had to travel through in this case. We landed in one of the bays and disembarked from the dart. The flight crew walked off the platform and down a catwalk and some metal stairs going down. An elevator ride to much deeper levels. I was met by Gonzalez, who was wearing a U.S. Air Force dress uniform. I looked at him and said, "Back to that old charade, eh?" Then he made a stern face that said, "Cut it out." We went down a few flights of stairs and then to a small elevator. A young female was standing there in a similar uniform as the one Gonzalez was wearing. She greeted us and told us she would be our escort for the duration of our visit. She took us in the elevator, ran a card through the card reader, and then placed her hand under some sort of RF scanner. The elevator began to move so quickly that I didn't have time to pay attention to how many floors we passed. I found myself much further down into the LOC than I had ever been permitted to go before. As I looked around, I was a bit disappointed. All I saw were doors and hallways that were exactly like what you would see at a scientific facility here on Earth. I will be working with some artists to help develop out new depictions of the areas I was given access to on the LOC. I will be releasing them through secretspaceprogram.com along with Jordan Sather's new 12-part webinar series, Disclosing the Secret Space Program. And this is going to conclude part 8.